Dun 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 dun. Zoro and Sanji fanboys, assemble. I read the editor's note on the last page that said, those two have assembled, and that music just started playing in my head. We start off with a cover page requested by none other than Oda's favorite fan requester, Notice Skywalker, and it's Hot Mama Robin working alongside a spider. And I find that kind of fitting because I think Robin has a technique called spider net, right? Where she makes a net out of hands. Spider netto! That's exactly how she says it. This chapter was great, man. And I can honestly only see the pacing getting better after this. Now, next week is predicted to be a very special chapter in the minds of a lot of fans. Granted, this is just a theory and it's a prediction, so there's no confirmation about this. It's just speculation. But a lot of fans think that 944, chapter 944, is going to be a very special one. Something major is going to happen related to Zoro. And this theory stems from chapter 784. This is the chapter where Luffy goes Gear Force for the first time. And in that chapter, we get a color spread, and Zoro is sitting on a tombstone. So some fans saw that, and they were like, oh, chapter 944 is going to be special, or something's going to happen. Maybe Zoro has a near-death experience, or something, right? Because it's a weird thing that Oda decided to draw the number 944, and then Zoro sitting on top of it, especially in this color spread with Luffy going Gear Force for the first time, and we see some zombies, and of course, zombies kind of... I think a lot of people took the zombies to mean that Gear Force was kind of a reference or inspired by Luffy's nightmare form. So yeah, Zoro's sitting on a tombstone that says 944. What does that mean? Your guess is as good as mine. Again, I'm referencing the color page that appears in chapter 784. There's also a cross there that says December 20th. So does it mean something? I guess we'll find out in a week. We start off with a flashback in Hakumai, and the main purpose of that flashback, well, it does two things. First of all, it cements and establishes Yasu as a legit, good, well-intentioned man, somebody worth missing, and then it also reveals to us, I think, like, it's pretty clear that Oda decided to take this opportunity to confirm who the Nine Red Scabbards are to us, because we see them lined up, well, they're tied up as younglings, so these are the younger version of the Nine Red Scabbards, or the people that will eventually become the Nine Red Scabbards. There's this whole speech about how they should become the best of the best. I do have to say that Kinemon's hairstyle, or young Kinemon, reminded me of Bartolomeo. And then it also turns out that both Denjiro and Kawamatsu were silhouettes back in the day as well. Now, in the scene where we see the Nine Red Scabbards, I mean, if you count them all, there's a total of 9, right? But there's a character in that 9-figure lineup that at first I thought it was Okiku, but it also looks like Izo from the Whitebeard Pirates. He was introduced to us as the 16th division commander of the Whitebeard Pirates. We don't know what happened to him. And by the way, we still need to know what Marco told Nekomamushi, because back in, I think it was chapter 909, Marco tells Nekomamushi, hey, if you're going to go see Luffy, if you're going to go see Straw Hat, please give him this message. So I don't know what that message is. We don't know yet. Could it be related to Izo? I don't know. But here's the thing, right? We know that Kiku is confirmed to be one of the Red Scabbards, so she technically should be in that lineup. So the way I see it making sense is if Izo was one of the members of the first 9 Scabbards, and then maybe he left to be with Whitebeard. He left to join Whitebeard's crew, and then the remaining Scabbards had to replace him because there was an empty seat, an empty spot, and they actually recruited Kiku. So maybe Okiku joined later. Now, in the wiki, it does say that Izo is a cross-dresser, which I didn't know. So I had the idea that maybe Izo is posing as somebody named Kiku, but it's actually him. Maybe he transformed or whatever. Because we do know that there's something suspicious about Kiku. We know that very early on. There's been comments made about her. Luffy and Zoro suspect something. They suspect that there's more to her than meets the eye, and that there's more to her than she lets on. Now, the problem with Izo being Okiku is that it kind of messes up the timeline, because we also know, and this is confirmed, that Kiku made that same 20-year time jump as Kinemon and the rest. So it's like she couldn't have jumped 20 years into the future and also be around to join Whitebeard's crew. It just again, it messes up the timeline. So the best thing that I can come up with is I think Izo was one of the first members, and then he left, and then they replaced him with Okiku. Also, according to Otsuru, Kiku told her that she had been in Wano for a month. So they jumped 20 years into the future, and a month has passed since the time jump. And so for clarification purposes, I'm just going to go down the list and actually name the 9 Red Scabbards, just so there's no confusion. The 9 Red Scabbards that were confirmed to us via this chapter in the flashback. So we have Kinemon, we have Raizo, we have Kanjiro, Nekomamushi, Inuarashi, Kawamatsu, Denjiro, Ashura Doji / Shutenmaru, and then finally the Izo / Okiku looking character. If it turns out that it was Izo and then Okiku joined later, that would give us a total of 10 instead of a total of 9. But you get the idea. Now, out of the 9, the ones that have the most impressive feats are Inuarashi, Nekomamushi, and Shutenmaru / Ashura Doji, because they actually faced off against Jack, and we saw them, they were capable of holding their own. So the rest, I don't know. We don't know their true strength just yet, but I guess we'll find out. So Komurasaki is crying on Zoro's chest, because not only is it a sad situation that Yasu died, but also what makes this situation even worse is that people can't even grieve the loss of the old daimyo, because they can't express the sad emotion. So she explains this, and then, I don't know if you noticed this, but there's 2 almost identical panels with Zoro and Sanji when they're both getting heated up. They're both getting angry. And one is with Zoro after Orochi calls Yasui a rat. I think his nickname was a hedgehog, but then he's like, no, a rat, a sewer rat. And then it cuts to Zoro getting really angry. And we get the same panel with Sanji getting angry as well when they talk about the smiles and the side effects of eating those fruits, because the fruits were mixed in with the leftovers. And so what I liked about those 2 panels is that they serve to highlight their character. Zoro's getting upset, or what's getting the rise out of Zoro is the fact that a man's honor is being mocked publicly. And Zoro has always been about a man's code of honor. That's something that you should respect. And then what's getting the rise out of Sanji is the fact that the apples or the food was messed with. And so for Sanji, that goes against his code of ethics as a cook. You don't mess with people's food. That's just, a horrible thing to do. And then we get a shot of Luffy, and he's also getting upset because he says that nobody should laugh when somebody dies. Luffy's like, nobody should laugh when somebody dies unless it's the person who's about to die, and that's if they choose to laugh or if they choose to smile, if they're a D. Now, that being said, I don't know if he's getting ace flashbacks or whatever, but the main point here is that it's a cool way of showcasing the monster trio being more invested, more emotionally engaged in this upcoming fight against Kaido and Orochi. Like, you could see the 3 of them just getting more motivated, right? Anyway, Kaido is back in Onigashima Island, possibly getting drunk. Just a quick scene with him. And then we get this whole explanation about the Smile Devil Fruit users and the side effect of consuming an artificial devil fruit, which I actually think I did a pretty good job at explaining the main core substance that was used to make these artificial devil fruits in my last review. In case you want to check it out, you don't have to. But I mean, I think this is a really good breakdown chapter where Oda just kind of like just tells you straight up, this is what's been going on. There was so many hints about this being the case, especially with the names of the artificial devil fruit users. Wow. In fact, this whole thing about the smiles goes back even further. Like, it goes back to pre-time skip when Doflamingo is talking to Disco. Dofi's like, oi, 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 listen to me, you moron. The age of human trade is over. This new age is about the smiles. Smiles! Now, Shinobu actually says that Kaido's goal is, and I quote, to use the smile, or use that fruit, to strengthen his forces and make them monsters in order to have the strongest pirate crew in the world. It's funny she says that, considering the fact that most of these smile users that we've seen thus far have been kind of foddery. It's just, an army of fodder. That's what Kaido's goal is. I don't know. Because think about it, right? The waiters are waiting. Waiters are waiting. The pleasures can't show negative emotions, but then because they've eaten the fruit, they also can't swim. So you have a section of your army who can't get angry or sad, and they also can't swim. And then only 10%, like only 1 out of 10 becomes a gifter. And even the gifters are having problems because some of their devil fruit powers, their animal is just deformed or has this weird quirk. So not only do you have to get lucky to be in that 10% bracket to get an animal power up, right? But then even after you get lucky, all you get is this deformed animal appearance. I mean, Hold'em had a lion that was attacking his private parts. Like normally you would say high risk, high reward, right? This is just high risk, and then your reward is an animal deformity. Long story short, smileys are not worth it. What a joke. This is a good lesson for as to why people should not interfere with the laws of nature within the One Piece world. Just let devil fruits be devil fruits. Let them be rare, let them be special, and let them look not so horrible, you know? Also, I said this before, but I think it's quite obvious that Vegapunk is going to revert, or is going to be able to cure the smiley, or the not be able to showcase negative emotion side effect of the fruit, the same way that he's going to be able to cure the giant kids from Punk Hazard. Vegapunk is going to come into the story at some point, and he will be able to cure the people of Ibiza Town, and they will be able to be sad once again. It sounds kind of weird saying that, right? It's like you get to the end of the arc, the end of the level, and your reward is to feel sad and angry. Anyhow, Toko rushes in to try and revive her deceased father with no success. She said she's bought this medicine, which is the medicine that she bought from Usopp, and then Usopp blatantly admits that that medicine doesn't do much of anything. Or, you know, he's like, I'm sorry I lied to you, Toko. I'm sorry, that medicine doesn't do that. Imagine if the medicine actually did work, though, and Yasuo got revived because of Usopp's medicine. Oh. Nah, Yasuo's death was too impactful. He should stay dead. You know, it was a good, emotional moment. Had a lot of weight to it. So that moment should not be tarnished. Anyway, Orochi shoots at Toko. And then boom, two familiar silhouettes rush in again. Oda with the silhouette fetish, it's Sanji and Zoro protecting Toko. I do not know who blocked the shot, who stopped the bullet. Sanji has his leg up, Zoro has his sword out. Sanji does have Diablo Jamba on his leg activated. But I mean, if Sanji blocked it, I think that would be cool, because it'd be like, Sanji can block bullets with his bare legs. I mean, it's technically not bare because it has fire on it. And actually, it's not his full leg that has fire, but just his foot has fire. So did he learn how to control that recently? That's kind of cool. There's also a sound effect near Sanji that says crumble crumble, and then on Manga Stream it reads patter patter. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to signify. And then there's some black little circles that look like drops. Is that supposed to be blood? I'm sure we'll actually get to find out what happened next week when they discuss this whole thing. They're probably going to debate like who blocked the shot and who didn't. And then Hawkins and Drake are there. Are we going to get a rematch between Zoro and Hawkins? Are we going to get a fight between Drake, X-Drake, and Sanji? Is X-Drake going to mention what actually happened to page 1 to Sanji? We might find out next week. I don't know. This is really cool. It's a really great scenario. Again, you can tell the pacing is only going to get better from here on out. It just seems like this is the climax of Act 2, and I can't wait to see what happens. Hopefully it ends with some fights, and we got Zoro and Sanji front and center, hogging the spotlight. It was just a great ending. This is the reunion that we haven't had since they split up in Dressrosa. they haven't seen each other since Dressrosa, and now they're protecting the same little girl, and they're like, what are you doing here? Who are you? It's going to be fun to see Sanji's reaction when he finds out that Komurasaki has a crush on Zoro. I imagine Usopp and Frankie are going to come in there with shovels just to get the salt off the ground. Hi-ho, hi-ho. I just noticed that in that last page there are some sakura petals floating in the air, and I'm beginning to think that it's less about a specific sword technique and more about just, you know, artistic liberty, and Oda just kind of like adding that Japanese flavor to some of the panels. I could be wrong though, but you do see clearly some sakura petals there. So it's like, where did those come from? Because clearly those were not there. So unless like Sanji learned to focus his fire only on his foot, and then Zoro learned how to produce flower petals out of nowhere with a slice, then I mean, I guess that happened off screen, off panel. That being said, guys, I thought the chapter was great. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you did. Appreciate that. I'm sorry for the lack of content. I really am. It's just that life has been kind of messy for me recently. Specifically, there's been an issue with my apartment that, you know, I hope gets fixed soon. Like my living space situation just got kind of weird and messed up all of a sudden. Like I can't even stay here. I upload this and I'm out the door. So thank you for understanding. Hopefully things get resolved. Thanks again for watching, liking, and subscribing. and I will catch you guys later. Let me know what you thought about the chapter down below. Thanks, guys. Bye.